Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a World Chalice deck profile here. Yes, this is an updated variant of it. This will be changing more so my playstyle, not so much my final board. The final board is to either break the opponent's board with a board that pretty much has enough monsters to OTK the opponent, or you might want to actually create a board that would negate your opponent's plays, or at least disrupt them as much as you can possibly do. But with that being said, here's my new take on it. I've tried to go forth and attempt with these, I guess, more innovative plays. Now, I must admit, there are definitely quite a few limitations which made it quite a challenge to actually accomplish. However, that's just simply what World Chalice is. A lot of the good cards have been banned, so it does limit you in being able to further extend. There are other engines out there. The only reason why I don't play those engines is most likely because I don't have the cards, and I have actually taken a look at different engines where some people have actually incorporated even the Condemned Dark Lord, the Link monster at least, into the deck itself, and I've seen it work. There's also decks that incorporate the agents, or at least the heralds in this case, so it would be Eva, the card that you would get from the Wave of Light structure deck, and that would also be quite a viable option as well. However, since I don't actually own all of those cards, I can't actually attempt to even begin to try those engines because yeah, I could actually play with them online, but at least here in a physical build of the deck itself, I am unable to actually accomplish that because I'm still just either looking for those cards or I haven't fully explored it yet. But hopefully this actually incorporates something a bit different. I've made quite a few changes here. This is going to be a 40 card deck, and it should be something a bit more different than what I'm actually used to. So without further ado, let's just get started with this deck profile. So to begin with monsters, we're going to be playing one copy here of Crowned and one copy of Chosen. I wanted to actually play more copies of Crowned because I am actually playing the Draconet in the deck, 3 copies of it at least, and because of that, I thought maybe increasing Crowned to 2 copies might work. Not really, it didn't make too much of a difference, so I actually decided to keep Crowned at 1 copy and Chosen at the 1. I'm not playing Beckoned. I just think that this is definitely a ratio that I am very comfortable with. Moving on with the obvious, I'm going to be playing 3 copies here of World Legacy World Chalice. We're going to be playing 3 copies here of Lee of the World Chalice, and we're going to be playing 2 copies here of World Chalice Guard Dragon. These cards are essentially staples for the deck, and I'll always keep it at this particular ratio. Some people might increase Guard Dragon to 3 copies. I have seen builds that do that, but I do not think it's actually necessary in that particular case. However, you do want to open up with Lee, you do want to open up with the Chalice, and that's pretty much it about these particular cards. You keep it at this ratio consistently throughout many builds, unless there's some kind of format that actually warrants you to decrease the number of copies of it. Of course, that also goes without saying that we're going to be playing the Venus engine. It's an efficient engine, and I've seen decks that have also taken out this engine as well. I just don't really agree with it. It's something that I just can't, it's just really odd to me, you know. With Venus, I feel like it's one of the staples of the deck itself. You have to play it, but I don't want to enforce it as a rule to play it because like I said, I've seen people not play the Venus engine, but as something that is so efficient, it just feels like a missed opportunity if I don't actually play the card itself. Moving on, we are going to be playing 3 copies here of Draconet. Yes, I actually increased this card to 3 copies. I wanted to make it as consistent as possible to draw into this card. You might be questioning, why am I not playing Signet Mining? Well, Signet Mining is a very specific card, and it requires you to not only discard, but it only searches for this specific card. While this card is great for combo starters and everything like that, it's not the most crucial card. You could still play without this card. Even if you don't draw into it, it's no big deal. But if you do, it's a very nice card to draw into. So there's no need to clog up your deck by playing 3 copies of Signet Minings. You don't have to play any copies of Signet Mining. Playing 3 of these is enough for you to get your consistency going, and you could potentially draw into this via cards like Pot of Avarice or even the yugioh as well. So I keep it at 3 copies. It's been working really well for me. Moving on here, we're also playing 2 copies of Exodius. You guys are already familiar with that, but I'm also playing the 0 Day. I'm keeping in the Codebreaker engine. It's definitely a very nice engine, and the funny thing is this, you're playing with a deck that's extremely efficient, but just in case something goes wrong, you could always fall back to a secondary engine itself and allow you to actually extend your plays quite far. And Codebreaker is actually a really great engine to actually work with that. Finally, we're playing the 2 biggest disruptors. We're playing here the Gameciel and we're also playing here the Christia. Both cards absolutely amazing. You could summon it out via Aurum's effect when they're both in the graveyard, or you could summon it out via yugioh's effect. Christia will lock out on your opponent's summons. Gameciel will pretty much give you infinite negates. It's almost as if this card is actually made for your deck because of how many cards you're actually sending to the graveyard. This is the one deck that will send the most cards to the graveyard, I believe. No other deck to my recollection actually does that. So you're fueling your Gameciel's potential counters to actually just negate on the board, and I find that you're pretty much going at such an infinite rate. I mean, you could negate half your opponent's deck by the time you're finished with your turn and you have Gameciel on the board. Now onto the spells, we're going to be playing here 1 copy of Guard Dragon. It's a very nice card because not only is it a World Legacy card which allows you to go into Lib, you also get to move the columns as well, definitely really nice. You're also playing here 1 copy of World Legacy Succession, definitely really nice card to extend the board itself, and being that it's a World Legacy card also has a key aspect to the actual plays itself as well. Now I am not playing World Legacy's Heart because of the fact that I wanted to actually try out something a bit different, so I'm no longer incorporating it. I don't really need the resources in the hand anyway, and when you're playing cards like Pot of Avarice, Exodius, you could pretty much just return every single card to your deck anyway and then draw into new ones, which would be a lot better than actually playing the World Legacy's Heart. Now because I'm playing the Gameciel, I'm obviously playing here the Kyoto Waterfront. I'm not playing the Terraforming to actually make this faster. Playing 3 copies of this is definitely more than enough to actually do the job. It adds the consistency of it and it just works out really amazingly for me at 3 copies. I've had no complaints so far. I'm also playing here 2 copies of Pot of Avarice. Bumping this up to 2 copies has been quite a miracle, to be honest. It really just works amazing wonders with the deck itself, and it makes my combos so much more extended, which I'm definitely very satisfied with. And then of course we're playing cards that allow us to extend, so Swing of Memories, bringing back more of your normal monsters from the graveyard. We're playing here 2 copies of Transmodify, does the job because it pretty much allows you to either send your Lee or you could send your Mystical Shine Balls and go into your Venus. Absolutely amazing. There's no need to play 3 copies of it, 2 copies is more than enough. And we're also playing here the 1 copy of E-Tele just to bring out our Chosen, just a very nice card. To end things off with the main deck, we're going to be playing Monster Reborn, we're playing Instant Fusion, we're playing the Guard Dragon Reincarnation, and we're also playing here the World Legacy Sorrow. Sorrow can actually be brought out via Lib's effect, but it's also just a really amazing negate. You know, you have Gameciel on the board, but if your opponent has a Solemn card, like a Strike or a Judgment, and they negate your Gameciel can't respond to it. So you need at least 1 card to respond to your opponent's spell speed 3, and that would be your own counter trap card, and the World Legacy Sorrow is definitely very amazing. You might even want to bump it up to 41 cards in the deck by adding in a 2nd copy of Sorrow, though that's something I'll experiment in the future. As for the Guard Dragon Reincarnation, pretty much just a 1 card OTK. You're playing plenty of links here, so as long as you have 3 links in the graveyard, the Reincarnation will be very active to go for an OTK. Instant Fusion brings out a monster, allowing you to pretty much just go for further plays, and Monster Reborn brings back more resources as well. It's pretty self-explanatory for a lot of these cards, but with that being said, let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so onto the extra deck. We're starting off here with the Lib. I've been mentioning this throughout the deck profile already. Lib is an absolutely amazing card. When you're able to pull it off, it really does work a bunch of wonders for the deck itself. We're also going to be playing the 1 copy of Aurum, we're playing 1 copy of Ib, we're playing 2 copies here of our Imduk, and of course we're playing the 1 copy of Link Spider. These cards should be a bit more on the obvious side of things. You guys are already wondering, well, where is Ningirsu? I've actually chosen to take that out of the deck. It doesn't come up as often. If anything, I rarely use it. So in this case, this is the engine I'm actually going for in terms of the World Chalice Link monsters. Moving on, I'm also incorporating here Ip Masquerena. Definitely a really amazing card. It allows you to not only go into your link plays during your opponent's turn, but it also is just very generic, and it's one of the cards that just replaces the Nightmare engine that I was playing. So I was playing Nightmare, Cerberus, and Phoenix in my previous builds, but since then the Lib and the Ip Masquerena have been the new replacements for them. Also playing here the 1 copy of Trigate Wizard, just a card that's really nice to go into. Sometimes you're not able to pull off your Gamma Seal in the same turn, so you might have to fall back to a more backup play, so that would be the Trigate Wizard and the World Legacy Sorrow together. That's enough negates to actually disrupt your opponent. And if you have Trigate Wizard with co-link to 3, which gives you that free negate, and you also have the Christie on board as well, your opponent's definitely going to be struggling quite a bit. Alright, so as for Link 4s or boss monsters, we're going to be playing our Avramax, we're playing Borrello Dragon, and we're also playing the Yugioh. Now, Yugioh and Avramax are both really amazing cards. I've considered them to be staples for at least my variant of the deck itself. However, you don't have to play the Borrello Dragon. I'm playing this over the Abomination because Abomination just doesn't really do anything. Borrello actually works a lot of wonders to allow me to just break boards and take your opponent's monsters as well. Absolutely amazing, and it just works out really well for me. Now, a lot of people might be arguing you might have to play Appaloosa. If I were to play Appaloosa, I would take out the Borrello and put in the Appaloosa. I don't necessarily see Appaloosa as a staple. I do see it being an amazing card, but since we already have cards like Gamma Seal, there's no need for us to worry about playing cards such as Appaloosa, but it would be nice to actually go into one. So if you wanted to, just swap it out with the Borrello Dragon, you'll be fine. With that being said, we're going to be playing here the Codebreaker engine as well. Pretty self-explanatory because I've already mentioned it in the deck profile itself. And of course, we're going to be playing here 2 fusion monsters. We're playing the Almaduke, you guys already know that. I talked about Guard Dragon Reincarnation, which goes into your Almaduke. Absolutely amazing card to break your opponent's board. But of course, we're also playing here Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon's just a really amazing card. It's essentially a instant fusion target, allowing you to just extend your boards. However, in the side deck, I am actually playing Super Poly, so if you know what your opponent's playing, then in game 2, or just before game 2 at least, you could then side in your Super Polys and use your opponent's monsters to go into your Mud Dragon, and that way you could maybe just take out the instant fusion in your deck. Definitely really amazing and nice combo to actually go into. I'm also playing a lot of variety of cards in my side deck as well, such as Starving Venom, and also I don't know, I guess like just different options really, you know, to allow me to go into my Super Poly targets. However, with that being said, that's essentially the deck profile itself. I hope you guys actually enjoyed that. If you did, definitely drop a like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. If you guys have any other suggestions for the deck itself, definitely don't hesitate to leave them down in the comments below. And of course, with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm gonna see you guys in the test stand video. I'll see you guys next time.